Hello, this is Steve Condos and welcome to this video. Today I want to talk about the Case for XRP 2026 edition. Now we all know that we can send an email in a split of a second. However, when it comes to sending money across borders, it still takes days. So we live in a digital world that is using a financial postal service, if you like, from the 1970s. This is the gap that XRP was built to bridge. It was developed in 2012 by a private technology company called Ripple that develops financial software for banks. So it is a utility-first digital asset that was specifically designed for the plumbing, if you like, of the new global financial system. It is inexpensive, it is fast, it can settle in seconds, and transactions cost a fraction of a penny. But that's not the real story. The technology is not the real story. The real story is who is starting to use XRP. Now, for years, people have been asking, will banks or major financial institutions start actually using this? Well, in 2026, I believe we have our answer. We are seeing a massive shift in institutional adoption. Major players like MasterCard, banks from Brazil, Japan, and from Europe are finally starting to not just test it, but actually putting real-world value on the XRP network. But what is driving this? Why XRP? Well, the reason is that XRP solves the liquidity problem that banks have. What do I mean by that? Well, traditionally, banks need to hold trillions in foreign bank accounts so that they can facilitate the foreign currency exchange transfers. So they've got trillions of dollars that is just sitting in accounts. Now, XRP acts as the bridge currency. It allows them to swap value A for value B instantly without the need for that dormant capital. Now, in a world where cash is king, freeing trillions of dollars in liquidity, that's a game changer that financial institutions simply cannot ignore anymore. But what is driving this growth? What is the engine behind this growth? Two words: regulatory clarity. Now, the Clarity Act moving through gives XRP something that most digital assets don't have, and that is a green light from regulators. So this is opening the floodgates. And when you get institutional grade products such as ETFs, exchange traded funds, you start getting institutional grade buy pressure, and that is demand. So we are seeing right now, right across major exchanges, an all-time low in exchange balances, just as this shift of adoption is happening and major financial institutions want to scoop up tokens for the clients. So it is a classic supply and demand equation. And that, of course, will only help or increase the demand for XRP. So why should you pay attention to what is happening with XRP right now? Or more importantly, why should you accumulate XRP now? Well, firstly, the XRP network is expanding into tokenization, putting real-world assets such as real estate and gold onto the network. And as more assets move onto the network, the demand for XRP to power those transactions will only increase. Secondly, we are moving from the speculation phase into the utility phase. Once XRP establishes itself as the standard for international settlement, the days of seeing XRP at such low prices will be a memory. So the goal is simple: move now and position yourself before the infrastructure of the new global financial system moves completely onto the XRP network. And here's the conclusion. The financial flip is happening. The banks are ready, the technology is proven, and the window is open. The real question is, will you be holding XRP when the financial world hits send? If your answer is yes, you need the right vehicle and the right system, not only to hold XRP, but to find a way to multiply it using the greatest tool of our era, and that is artificial intelligence. And this is where the XIB Club community project comes into play. Let AI, artificial intelligence, do all the heavy lifting for you while you focus on your business. If what you heard here resonates with you, contact myself or the person who shared this video with you and find out how you can start leveraging the greatest tool of our era and start positioning yourself by increasing your XRP portfolio. I'm Steve Condos.